Hi, my name is Gregory Possman, and this is the channeled message for September of 2014. I'm coming to you from the beautiful suburban area called Todd, North Carolina, in the Blue Ridge Mountains, which is where my wife Sandy and our two cats live. I would like to notify you that our website has been revived, remodeled, and renewed. And so if you're interested, it's www.gregorypossman.com. I will be in Denmark for most of the month and in England for a 4-day spiritual journey at the end of the month, for which we actually have 2 spots left if you're interested. I would also like to mention our Council of Shambhala trip to Thailand, which will be in January from the 9th through the 20th. That's January 9th through the 20th of 2015. And without further ado, let's invite whoever coming in from the other side and give us our message for September of 2014. Greetings, we are the one who is called the Ærkeengle Michael. Some call us Michael. You can call us whatever you like. It is clear to many of you who are very sensitive that your planet is undergoing major changes. The man has even quoted the phrase cuddling with the chaos. In other words, allowing you to become more familiar with the chaotic nature of all of the changes that are taking place. And although we would love to give you good news that everything is calming down, it isn't. And, as we have always committed to you, we will tell you the truth as we see it. And the truth of the matter is that your planet is undergoing massive change. We would say that 80% of those changes are for the best, but the 20% that isn't is the 20% that is hanging on to old thought forms, old aspects of reality, old belief systems, and aspects that will not allow your planet to move forward. That 20% is highly visible. It is very audible, and it is in your face, so to speak. And all you have to do to find proof of that is to look at the media and perhaps even your own life to see how much change is actually taking place. And those of you who easily adapt to change, no problem. But those of you who are stuck in the old school train of thought, if you will, those of you who do not like change, those of you who like conformity and regularity, well, it's a bit of a roller coaster ride for you, and that is the way it is going to be. So, you have 2 choices. You can resist, or you can surrender. And, of course, we are not here to tell you what to do. You will make that choice in and of yourself. We will tell you, however, that surrendering will probably be the easier of the 2 decisions. For if you expend a great deal of energy on fighting to retain the old way of things, you will waste a great deal of energy. And as many of you are finding out, you don't have a lot of energy to waste. So, it is our recommendation that you give yourself permission to bump and spin, so to speak. That is football terminology in the American game of football. And the man through whom we speak played that game for a few years. And the truth of the matter is, when a runner is running with the ball, his motive is to make it to the goal line, just as your motive is to make it to the goal line called your objectives and your desires. In the way, of course, of that or to that goal line are the opposing members of the opposing team, who have a very different objective, which is to stop you from achieving your goal of crossing the goal line and scoring some points. And so you run into them. And the idea is that when you hit them, you bump them and you spin. You spin off to the side, so to speak. And that is precisely what our message is about. Do not confront the aspects of change that you see as blockages, but rather give yourself permission to see how quickly you can accept them. And for every human being, of course, there is that pattern of negotiating your particular situation to see if you can adapt it back to the old way, so to speak. But in truth, in most cases, these powers that we are talking about, the aspects of change, they are very possibly more powerful than you. And in some cases, you will not be able to change what is taking place. You will only be able to bump and spin and adapt and shift. And the question is, as we asked it a few moments ago, how quickly can you do that? In that process of adapting and shifting, how rapidly can you find yourself back in balance and harmony with the new circumstance, the new situation? How quickly can you allow yourself to surrender to it and then adjust and adapt so that you maintain your equilibrium, you maintain your balance, you maintain your happiness, as it were. Yes, and even your ability to laugh at what has occurred. And the reality, the truth that you must remember is that all things are perfect, somehow. And the question is, how long will it take you to see the perfection in all of it? That is the question. Sometimes it is not easy to surrender. Sometimes it is not easy to express your emotions around the change that you are fighting, especially when it is a long-time situation that is changing. For some of you, your mates are deciding they no longer wish to be paired with you. Some of you are losing your jobs, your occupations, and being forced into new circumstances. Some of you are actually moving your domicile, where you live, your residence, and you must allow yourself to adapt to new surroundings, new sights, new sounds, new smells, even new routines in your life. For some of you, your jobs are shifting and changing, and this change annoys you. Perhaps it is automation. Perhaps it is a change in personnel, a change in responsibilities. Perhaps it is simply a feeling of uselessness or worthiness issues, where you wonder whether your self-esteem, your self-value, your self-image is the same as it used to be. It can be very traumatic when relationships amongst friends and lovers and wives and husbands and girlfriends and boyfriends change, and one immediately asks oneself the question, well, what is wrong with me? Why is this particular change taking place? And the answer is nothing. Nothing is wrong with you. You are intact. You are well. You are capable. The question is, are you willing? And that's the question you must ask yourself. Am I willing? Am I willing to shift? Am I willing to adjust? Am I willing to adapt? And if I am willing, perhaps I will find that the new me, the shifted, adapted, converted me is actually better than the old version, the one that I left behind. And as always, we will share the analogy of the snake shedding its skin, which many of you have heard from us before, and we apologize for the repetition. When the snake sheds his skin, perhaps he looks back to see what it looked like. Or instead, perhaps, he looks ahead to the future and he adapts to his new skin very quickly. That is the question, isn't it? How long will it take me to adapt once I have molted my old skin, my old ways of being, my old ways of doing things, and most important, my old expectations and beliefs? How long will it take me to shift into a place of comfort with the new ones? Well, that is entirely up to you. That is your choice, a choice that you must make. But we do know this, and we know it well. If you look in nature, you will see that most things, perhaps with the exception of rocks, are not static. They are moving. Your planet is moving forward. Nature is moving forward. Many of you have noticed the massive shifts and changes in your weather. You can't count on it any longer. You can't assume that anything is going to be a certain way. And therefore you must get up every morning and look around and adapt to what is. In some places it will be much cooler, and in some places much warmer. In some places wetter than usual, and in other places drier than usual. But what is the constant? What is the constant common denominator in the middle of all of that? It is you. You wake up with yourself every morning. You go to sleep at night with yourself, no matter whom else may be in the bed with you, whether it's one of your pets or another human being. But the truth of the matter is, you will always wake up with yourself, and you will always have to sleep with yourself. And therefore, do what you feel is right. Do what is for the good of the all. Do what you call random acts of kindness, and allow yourself to lie down at night with a clear conscience and a good feeling of safety that you have made it through the entire day with what one might call kind and loving thoughts, kind and loving hearts. And do not forget to forgive. It is very important. And you might begin with self-forgiveness. That may be the key, so to speak. That may be the way that you have to go. By forgiving yourself first, allowing all of your anger, irritability, jealousy, trauma, and other emotions to be released, expressed, and set aside, so that you may take your power back, so that you may take back your adaptability, your flexibility, so to speak, and allow yourself to shift and change as need be. And believe us, we can assure you the need will be greater and greater. You will have less and less time to adapt and shift and change. And therefore, it is wise that you allow yourself to exercise your flexibility muscle, just like you exercise the other muscles of your body whenever you choose to, by walking or running or swimming or lifting weights or whatever it is that you do. But give yourself permission to move into this space now. Do not wait. You do not have time. It is important to understand that the term grit, as it were, a characteristic that was described in a book that the man read recently. And in that book, this aperture or characteristic called grit was expressed as one's ability to buckle down, so to speak, and accomplish what is necessary. So, increase your grit capacity, your ability to do what is necessary. Stand and perform, stand and deliver, so to speak, and stop wallowing in that pool of mud called self-doubt. Trust that you can do what is necessary, that you can learn what is necessary, that you can shift and you can grow. And believe us, your experience will be all the much better for it, and you will end up all the much more wiser for it. And finally, a note to those of you who are finding life devastating, a note to those of you who are not enjoying your existence. Remember, there are a great number of things that can only be learned and experienced here in the physical dimension you call Earth. And you have created this experience so that you could learn those things. So give yourself permission to increase and exercise that muscle called flexibility. Give yourself permission to enjoy and to experience that which you can only enjoy and experience here in this life you created, here on this earth plane which you created so you could spend this life learning and growing, expanding and stretching, so to speak. And allow that stretch to become a mainstream part of your existence in the time to come, what you call your future. Remember, your future is created by your imagination. If you can dream it, if you can visualize it, then you can create it. It is just a question of how. It is important to understand, as always, there are many paths to the mountaintop, and it is important for you to exercise the one that is yours. So give yourself permission to look in the mirror on this day, to love yourself, and commit yourself to the change that is necessary in order for you to be content, joyous, happy, exuberant, and enthusiastic. Never lose your enthusiasm for life. Oh yes, there are those days when it is harder to find than others. There is no question of that. Just give yourself permission to utilize the word inconvenient. Well, that change in my life is inconvenient and nothing more. And I will not, under any circumstances, allow it to overtake or overcome my happiness. I will choose to continue to carry on the good fight, so to speak. And, as one of the man's friends says, life rages on. Life rages on. All the best to each and every one of you. Much love, much kindness, and much compassion. We have faith in you. Now it is time for you to have faith in you. So be it. I'm back. My wife Sandy and I wish you all the best. We hope that your life continues to go well, and if it's in the cards, we look forward to seeing you soon. Take care.